and it takes it as a very important aspect. So when you look at that generally in the society and why it may be of great importance, is that usually there is a weakness when people grow up. When we are young, from the time when mothers are pregnant with us and the 9 months, they are suffering, they are sick, they are doing this. When we are born, we disturb them, they don't sleep. When we are sick, they are also sick. When we don't get anything we want, they are also affected. Unfortunately, a big majority of the humans, when people grow up, they end up, turning away the focus from the parents, and probably they focus on their own spouses and their own children. Thus forgetting their parents who are very key in as far as their lives are concerned. And whenever you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizing an aspect in the Quran, it means that many people are negligent about this duty. That's why it is very rare. I'm not saying it is non-existent, but it's not as frequent as you see that Allah orders us to treat our parents well, like that it is the same way that He orders orders parents to be dutiful to their children or to take care of them. That is inbuilt. So we're looking at those various verses, taking care of your parents, whether they are people of your faith, whether they are not even Muslims, treating them well, okay? Even in the matters of religion, for as long as they are not telling you to worship anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to treat them, the other worldly matters, in the best way possible. Even when they are dead. We looked at that last week. That even when they are dead, we are obliged to pray for them continuously, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them, to grant them Jannah. You are supposed to, how do you treat them well, is to treat well their relatives, to treat well their friends, to make sadaqah on their behalf. And as long as you behave well, it is like you're honoring your parent, and also the parent actually gets rewards in whatever you're doing. If a parent left a debt, it becomes incumbent upon you, the child who is waladu salihu. In that hadith, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that idha mata al-abdu yanqata amaluhu illa min thalath. That when a son of Adam, when a person dies, or a servant of Allah dies, all his deeds are cut off, except 3. And the third one is aw waladun salihu yad'u lahu, or a pious child who prays for the parent. Now, even praying for them per se, whether they are alive, whether they are dead, comprises what we call birrul walidain. But of course, in relation, as I finish that recap, to what happens in the actual society, you have seen over news in the television, people evicting their own mothers from their houses that were left for them by their husbands, people beating up their parents, people slandering them. Others, Allah has given them, richness, they don't care. The mother becomes a pauper when the children are well-to-do. Somebody becomes sick and it is the neighbors to take them to hospital and also collect some money to pay for the hospital bills when the children are in there. All they look at is to look at what they're going to inherit from these parents. So it means there is a problem in our society, and that's why part of being a person with good conduct is being dutiful to your parents. Yes, and this is very, very important, that it can cause somebody to lose out whatever they are doing in terms of good deeds if they don't incorporate the dutifulness to parents as one of the aspects of good conduct that is loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
No, barakallahu fikum for that kind of recap. I think for our viewer who has not been, following quite vividly, I think that recap brings you to speed and you are able to catch up with what we are going to say in the subsequent minutes. Now, Haji Sinan, I think I try to tell us from what you have said.
Yes.
It is incumbent upon us that we should be dutiful to our parents, and every single one of us.
Yes.
For as long as you are human, then we know that you have a parent in one or the other, whether they are dead or they are alive, or if them, whatever, in whatever circumstance, but you have. So, what constitutes being dutiful to a parent? What should I do in a way that I should be counted So for example, I have my checklist.
Yes.
Said if I do A, B, C, D, then this constitutes, this mirrors being dutiful to my parents.
Yes, I thank you for that. Actually, like in the Quran, those verses that we looked at and which we have just mentioned a few of them, Allah just says that wabil walidaini ihsana, that and you treat well your parents. But what it constitutes, number one, loving them, and you really show them that you do love them. Number two, lowering your wing of humility. You know, humility comes from being humble. Whenever they call you, you don't stand. You actually lower yourself in humbleness given your culture. Whatever shows that you are actually humble is what you should ideally do, and the parent feels it. When he calls you, you answer. You prioritize him over anybody else. You prioritize your mother or your father over your wife, even up to the level of over your children, okay, or your spouse. He has called you. So number one, being humble. Number two, giving them a listening ear. Number three, praying for them. Because usually in praying for them, it's like it is very, very, very necessary that you should never go where your mother is. Personally, I lost my mother when I was around 10, 11 years. But I was listening to one of the sheikhs who was talking, and for him, he had just lost a mother like 6 months ago. And he was saying, look, these days, whenever I remember my mother, I shed tears, because those times, whenever I would go out, I'm going to give khutbah in the masjid, I would call my mother. Say, Mom, I'm going to give khutbah in such and such a mosque. Please pray for me. You know, there are people, and the dua, you know very well among the duas.
That was really some level of attachment.
Actually, those duas that actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers for as long as they are sincere. Among them, there's the dua of the parent. But then also being dutiful, that means praying for them. When they are old, they tend to be sickly, they tend to be weak, they tend to have a lot of anxieties. Even you, merely being that you don't have a job, or your children are sick, or your wife has a problem, or you don't have a house, that bothers her. It becomes a burden upon the many burdens that she does what? She has. Now imagine when you are 10 of you. Each one of you bothers her. Each one of you bothers them. You get what I'm trying to say? So praying for them becomes something very, very important. Then also taking care of them, whatever the circumstances. Last week we gave an example of a gentleman who had, a parent, a father in his house, but the father had grown old. And after some time, I think it is in the culture of the whites, that when the parents grow old, they take them to the elderly nursing homes, because they feel they are too busy with their own families that they cannot take care of their parents. So he gets his father to take him to this nursing home. But he had his 4 or 5-year-old son. So they went together. When they reach there, the boy asks, Dad, we are leaving, but what about Grandpa? He said, no, I've just brought this Grandpa. We can no longer take care of him in our house. We are busy. We have come to bring him here. These people will take care of him. Then the boy smiled all of a sudden and said, yes. Then the father was like, what are you celebrating about? I said, no, I've just thought about this whole thing. And then I said, now, even you, when you grow old like a grandpa, I can't imagine getting you into my car and driving you and bringing you right here. Then man said, ask his son that, what did you really say? The boy repeated to him.
So he came back to his
senses. Back to his senses, got his father, put him back into the car and drove him back to home. So, taking care of them. Medically, I happen to work in a hospital. Now, you see, somebody can come, especially when they're older, sometimes they have chronic illnesses. Hypertension, they have ulcers, they have diabetes, they have quite a number of conditions. And sometimes they have a longer stay in the hospital. But you may realize that a man whom they will tell you has over 10 sons, only one person is there to attend to them. Even when it comes to money, sometimes somebody comes and is in a hospital, stays there, you may even think maybe somebody doesn't even have relatives. But when it happens that maybe Allah has decreed that this person has passed away, that's when you'll see all the big cars. The Impenko, the whatever, and they say that is also his son. This one works in URA, the other one is he works in the Ministry of Education. This one does this. This one is a businessman. The other one works in Dubai. And he says, Subhanallah, where were these all when this man was suffering? Sometimes their grandchildren taking care. Sometimes just their mother. So it means taking care of them means even being there for them. Now that is on the negative, but on the positive, I have some friends whom I know. There's a time when they had their mother admitted, 3 boys. Now, for as long as their mother was in hospital admitted, these are people who are, alhamdulillah, well-to-do. Each one drives a car. They came and parked their cars. They would sleep in their cars. Say, for as long as mom is admitted here, we cannot go home. Because with a parent, there is no second chance. Now, this was the statement. With a parent, there is no second chance. Because you'll cry one day when you don't have a mother. When you don't have a father to consult. When you have a problem, there's somebody you should go and cry over because of the problems that you are facing as far as the dunya is concerned. So that is in terms of taking care of them, whether it is feeding them, whether it is housing them, whether it is taking care of their medical needs, whether even when they ask for anything, if he says, I need, a kilogram of meat, I need to take some milk, I need, please, with the parents, taking care of them encompasses all that, among others.
Okay.
And of course, it is a long list.
Yeah.
Yes.
From what I see now, this kind of long list, it is coming. It is bothering. I don't know what we can do, especially in this generation. There is something that really puzzles me at many times, and I feel, well, you can try to digest it, and maybe even our viewer is having a similar concern in some way. That I may be a parent, or I may be having my parent, and they were produced, for example, 10 of us.
Yes.
And the parent struggled to take care
of all of you.
And when he gets to this old age, the 10 cannot be able to cater for the one parent that is still alive, or the 2. Really, what could be the genesis of this?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created us. He knows us more than we do know ourselves. He knows our levels of ingratitude, lack of thankfulness. He knows our level of negligence. And that's why there are many verses in the Quran talking about birrul walidain, treating parents what? Well. Now, you realize that what brings in that sometimes, you see the Baganda have a certain say that, it's like when you have very many rats living in a single hole, they cannot, exactly, they may not be able to take care of their security because each one thinks that the other one will take care. So if you are 10 of you, you see when the mother gave birth to you, 10. When the father produced you, when you are 10 of you, he knows each one of you is unique, is a child of his. And each one of you has their own needs, and therefore he has to take care of you. That's why the firstborn goes. You'll find the firstborn is at the university, the other one is in senior 6, the other one is in senior 5, another in senior 4. All of them, the parents will take care. Now, for us, part of the problem is, Ayub will say Sinan is there. Sinan will think, okay, Muhammad is somewhere, they will take care. You understand? But what do I say in that, in as far as, how we should appreciate it, that your parents, whenever you're taking care of your parents, just understand that he is your father, she is your mother, period. You as you are an individual. And when you're taking care of your parents, don't count on any other. They will take care of them in their own capacities. Allah is going to ask you not on their behalf. He's going to ask you on your behalf. So whatever the case may be, for you, whenever they call you, you go. Whenever you have money, don't wait for them to ask. Remember, they are so merciful to us that when she's in need, or when he's even in need, they will not ask. They will think they are bothering you. You get something small, you give her, she will first of all say, why bother? You know, I know you are not doing well. You know, why? And yet she needs that money. He needs that 10,000 too much. Actually, I saw a skit.
I think Hajisinan, yes. This is something very sensitive, and I think we shall need to expound on that very point. But apparently, we need to go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, we'll pick up right out from that point, because it is something so important that we need to digest. So please don't go away. We are just for a short commercial break.
Inshallah.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Introducing Jama White Bath Washing Soap, your laundry's best companion. With superior quality in both white and cream types, Jama is the secret to impeccable cleanliness. It's gentle on your fabrics, lathers easily, and tough on stains, ensuring a long-lasting freshness that your clothes deserve. Jama Washing Bath Soap, the trusted choice for your laundry. Available in all shops and supermarkets nationwide. Distributed by Chapa General Enterprises, located at shop number 3, Rafik Building, Chikuwa, Kampala. You can contact them on +256 200 915 693.
Jovia ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ag'ewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo, ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo. Okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa. Jovia, kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli.
Tewali kkubo ku ki ky'osobola okukola ku mukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
Ffe aba NASA Recruitment Agency tukwaniriza gwe omwana ow'obuwala omunayuganda ng'olina passport yo wakati w'emyaka 21 ku 35. Jangu tukutwale e Saudi Arabia okukola nga housemaid. Wasomako, oyogera ku luzungu, jangu weewandiise naffe ogende okole, tojja kwejjusa. Tusangibwa Kyalo Wajjala ku opposite ne Mogas Petrol Station ku Muzikiti. Oba osobola okuba ku namba y'essimu 0702 33 4861 oba 0394 82 5219. Weebale nnyo.
NASA Recruitment Agency.
You can touch this. Hey, but you can test it. Ooh, but you can test it. Everybody grab a bottle and sip some. It's Mirinda time, flavors unmatched, tongue tingling, thirst quenching and bombastic. Oh, sweeter than sweet, bolder than bold. Flavors explode, making you go oh, you can test it.
There's no flavor like Mirinda, now in a fresh new look with the same great taste. Enjoy the tongue-tingling flavor of Mirinda Fruity, Orange, Green Apple, and Pineapple. Mirinda.
Explore, enjoy, and dance to the latest content, beats, and kawozi from Uganda and beyond. Simply go to your Play Store or App Store right now, find Afro Mobile, download it straight to your phone, and get started. Is it TV you want? Simply open the app, click on TV, select the channel you want, and watch live. Are you busy right now? Then check out On Demand or enjoy in your free time. Afro Mobile. The future is now.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Yes, welcome back from that short commercial break, dear viewer of Salam TV. Once again, I want to thank you so much for being glued to Salam TV and being able to follow our programs every other time whenever we have them. So as we went for a short commercial break, we were digesting a point that how can the 10 children for this parent or parents A, B,
yes,
you know, be taken care of by one or two, because you find even some instances when it has been either a single parent who has raised.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to an old age of, you know, 60, 70 or whatever, the 10 can never be able to sufficiently care for the one parent that they still have.
Yeah.
So we had, you know,
yes, that's what I was trying to say, that, you know, the way we should understand it is that you, my brother who is watching us, you, my sister, as an individual who is watching us, understand this, that when you are taking care of your mother, when you are taking care of your father, do it uniquely in your own capacity, and imagine as though they don't have any other children, because they gave birth to you. She is your mother, he is your father. Do whatever it takes in as far as your capacity is concerned to do whatever you can to treat them well, and to provide for them, to give them medical care, to house them, such that at the end of the day you are actually looking for one thing. Number one, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also there is that saying that, you know, as you make your bed, so must you lie on it. And there is also where it says, Kama tadinu tudani. Like the way you treat others, the way you will be treated. That's the example I was giving of that young man.
Yeah.
Now, when you treat them or you mistreat them, in most of the cases, what goes around will come around, will actually catch up with you. So how do we manage to do this if every other individual put it within their own head and understanding that this is my mother, this is my father, period. I don't have to look out and think that Ayub will take care, that Husna will take care, or Rukaya. It is me and my responsibility. And when I do this responsibility, I make my parents happy. One, I will be construed as a dutiful child, who is a child with good conduct. Number two, I will get rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three, I will avoid the curses of the parents. Because sometimes they don't have to say that I curse you. But they may say, now, but I have children, I gave birth to children. All these children I gave birth to, why? So one of the reasons is that many children think so and so will take care. After all, he has so many what? So many children. Not knowing that they are also churning out children. And one day, you will also be counted among those statistics that after all, no, that has many children. The others will take care of them. One day, some years back, more than I think 10 years, I went to a hospital. I was with a brother called Asadullah. We went to check around on patients. So as we're moving, we find this old man who was around 70 years, was ill. We greeted him. He was not even Muslim. We greeted him. We gave him words of comfort. You'll be fine. Don't worry. You'll be okay. Then after talking to him like that, the old man looks at us like this from his bed. Said, who are you? Then he said, oh, for us, we are just people. We walk around here, but we usually pass around to greet the patients and give them courage and pray for them so that they get well soon, better soon, and then they go back to their families. Then he told us that, but for you, how come you speak so nicely? Say, what do you mean? Said, do you see that door which enters the ward? Said, because it had a glass. The door had a glass in between, like those doors in hospital.
Yeah.
Said, do you see that door? We said, yes. So my own children, when they come, as if they would have come to see me, they stop and people from that glass. They don't reach my bed like you people have come here. They don't speak to me nicely like you people have done, who are even strangers. The only thing I hear that they are saying that I have refused to die, and as a result, I'm a stumbling block for them taking up their inheritance. Then he was like a tear and was saying, but for God's sake, I made this wealth with my own hands. I don't owe a penny to any of them, but I've become an enemy. Everybody wishes me to die. So they come to that door in the glass to see whether I have actually died. Because it is until when I die, that's when they can divide up my land, my properties. And that was very touching for me. So it means, and it happens quite often. So basically what answers that is negligence. Sometimes also upbringing. Because when there is an element of DNA, which actually has been inculcated in a person, the practical and leave alone the knowledge. There are people whom we have today, they have a lot of knowledge in as far as Islam is concerned, but when implementation is at the bare minimum, when they're the ones who go against the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly, you know, and when you try to query, say, you know, are you more knowledgeable than me? That's why it is even dangerous for somebody to say, if you tell them when they're doing something, say, what are you talking about? Are you more knowledgeable than so and so? I saw so and so doing this. But this so and so is also a person, is a human being. He makes errors. So are you going to copy each and every other error, or you want to tell me that everybody knowledgeable does not make mistakes? You know. So basically, it's as a result of sometimes low levels of religious practice. Number two is that kind of situation of thinking that the other one will do what? Will take care. Number three, people not understanding the repercussions, the negative repercussions of being negligent to one's parents. Yes.
Okay, I think you have shed a lot more light on that, and I think, dear viewer, you are able now to, I think you have now seen the bigger picture as to why some of these are in place, and it explains perhaps that the world today is lacking barakah because of some of these issues.
Exactly.
But among the many things that you hinted on, there is this aspect of give according due respect.
Yes.
I think we need to expound more on this. And how do we accord the due respect to our parents? Because it could be, you know, could be encompassing a number of things.
Yeah, there are many.
It is very vital.
There are many. We talked about, you know, being humble in front of them when they call you. It's like you going to see your mother or your dad. Your mother sits down and you sit on the table, on the chair, and you even cross your legs. Your mother, no. That is one. Number two, you're not supposed to, even if when you found her sleeping or him sleeping, that for me, I'm time bad. I'd come to check on mom, but I found her sleeping in the afternoon. Wake her up. No. You remember the three people who were actually trapped,
blocked by a stone.
Yes, by a rock. One of them had taken milk to the what? To the parents. And he reached when the parents were actually asleep, and had to hold this, you know, container of milk till morning, out of reverence and respect for what? For them. To the extent when they ask him why, he said, and by the way, for them, they're always understanding. Whatever you do, they will always be on the side of say, okay, I understand. But he said, I feared to interrupt your sleep. How many of us have done that? Number two, when they call you, you're supposed to answer immediately. But how many people, when your phone rings and you look dad, or you put Kazende boy, isn't it? Then you are like, this one, I will call him later. You get what I'm trying to say? That, you know, responding to them immediately constitutes respect to them. The other aspect is respecting and being dutiful to their friends. Whoever your mother showed you that is their friend, whoever your father showed you that they are friends, you are supposed to treat them as though you are treating your own parents. I remember one time around 1996, 97, I think 97, I was in the senior 6 vacation shortly before I joined Makerere in late 1997. I was operating in a restaurant which belonged to one of my uncles. He's also God, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him. But my uncle had an intention of selling this restaurant, but I was the one working in it with my cousin brother. So there came a lady who wanted to buy the restaurant, and he was in Haji's room. So she says she wants to buy the restaurant. Then Haji says, okay, since my children finished their exams, they've been operating this restaurant, and as if it is now making sense, financial sense. But if we are to sell it, I have to call them here, they have to consent. If they say no, I'm not going to what? To sell it. Then he calls for us. Then we find this is a visitor of our father. Okay, for me was just an uncle, okay, brother to my father. Then when we come in, you get what I'm trying to say? No, actually, I've remembered. We were already at campus. We were already at Makerere, but we were in the holidays. So when we came, because for us we were brought up, whether you are a boy, whether you are a girl, you don't greet any of your parents standing up. You have to lower yourself. You have to kneel down. You get what I'm trying to say? And that is part and parcel of our culture, most of the places in here. Now, we knelt down and even we greeted this lady. But now, instead of the business that had brought her, she began just looking at us and then asked our uncle and said, are these the boys you say that they are at Makerere? Then he said, yes. Said, but how did you raise them? A boy at Makerere to kneel down for even a person they don't know? Then our uncle shed tears. Even when the lady went away, he said, you people, you don't know how you've honored me. So driving at a point of honoring the name of our what? Our parents. Because if you're a thief,
dignity.
Yes, if you're a thief, or if you're a womanizer, if you're a land grabber, whenever they said this man produced for us a problem, have you honored them? You haven't. Whenever you behave well, in many times they will ask you, kazi yani yakuzala? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Others will just directly, may Allah bless your parents. They brought you well as a good young man, as a good young lady. So it means by that you are honoring their what? Their name. All these are aspect and part and parcel of giving them what? Respect.
Actually, from what we are taught, it exceeds even their lifetime.
Yes.
To an extent that even when your parent has died, you know, continuing to accord respect to him or her by according respect to their friends and their relatives.
Yes.
It is quite paramount.
To the extent that even those they were taking care of might have been taking care of a child of a shamba boy or a maid at what? At home. When she was the one paying school fees, or even your dad, you're supposed to take over that responsibility. For as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the means and ability, still the niyyah will be that you are taking, actually you are honoring them. Another example I can give you was somebody who, when his father passed on, he took on one of his youngest brothers. He educated him from senior 1 up to senior 6. He took him even to tertiary institution. You understand? But along the way, the father had left some land, which they distributed amongst themselves, including the elder brother and this young brother. You get what I'm trying to say? But one time when the boy is at the institution of higher learning, the young one, he was in need of some money. I think up to a level of around 500,000 shillings. So his elder brother, who had paid his fees from senior 1 up to wherever he was, he didn't have any money. But they had sold a portion of their land, which the father left, and part of the portion of this young one, they got 500 and gave it to him. So when it came to the final time when they were sharing, they counted this 500 as though this young one had already what? Taken it. The boy quarreled in front of his brother, who was taking care of his medical, of his clothing, of his school fees. From senior 1, you can imagine, up to senior 6, those are 6 years, then going to tertiary another 2 to 3 years. You get what I'm trying to say? Then he said, look, you are cheats. How dare you count that money on me? Because even I was supposed to go to school after all, even if dad had not left anything. You see the ingratitude.
So yes.
And that's when
as
the
if
elder,
it was a given.
Exactly. And that's when the elder brother stood up and said, I'm so disappointed. Say, but let me remind you, I've been educating you all this time for the sake of Allah, to make Allah happy. Because I imagined if my father was not here, if my father was here, you would be his responsibility. So I decided to stand in for my father, such that Allah is happy with what? With me. If my niyyah was really to make you happy and thank me, today I would have been in a total loss. But I thank Allah who made me make the niyyah specifically to please him and to stand in for my what? My father, by honoring him, by educating his what? His child when he's dead. If I was doing it that you appreciate me, I would have lost everything. But these are the humans. These are the what? The humans. That's why even part of good character, part of being dutiful to parents, actually the major foundation is a form of ibadah. Is a form of worship. That motivates you to move ahead. That also leaving it, you're committing a sin. That could land you into hellfire. You get what I'm trying to say? So basically in all this, people should appreciate. It's a form of ibadah. And we only want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be happy with us. But if your parents are happy with you, chances are that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will as well be happy with you. Now,
well, as we wind up, there is something one or two that I wanted us to, to comment on. One is to do with, what our parents command us. It can go either way. Say we are commanded bluntly that we should be obeying our parents and whatever commands that they give us.
Yes.
Can we take that as a wholesome, or there are some parameters that...
No, there are exceptions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you should obey them. But if they tell you to associate or say about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you don't understand, or to worship anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَلَا تُطِعُهُمَا, do not obey them. But he says, وَصَاحِبُهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. But then in worldly matters, treat them what? Well. Treat them well. So for as long as your parent is not telling you anything to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are supposed to obey them. We are supposed to listen to them. We are supposed to be there for them. So for as long as, even when they are not what? Muslims. I heard once, I think it was Imam Chayune mentioning that even if your mother is a Christian and she tells you, please, I want you to drive me to Namirembe, you are supposed to do that. For as long as she has not told you, let us go together and what? And pray. There, no, that's a red line. Because it is entering into the boundaries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has what? Has said. So that is the limitation. It's only within the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or somebody telling worship of him, or being disobedient. Like your father entering you into a dubious business that practically you're going to cheat others. Build here a house, they have practically just grabbed that land unfairly. So basically, for as long as they're not telling you to be disobedient to the Almighty, then you're supposed to be nice to them, you're supposed to obey them, you're supposed to listen to them, you're supposed to pray for them. Even when the non-Muslims continuously praying for them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides them before they die. You can see the story of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his uncle Abu Talib. Until the very last hour, he was still telling him, just say the Shahada, and then you leave the rest what? To me. But he didn't. So, but then you were supposed to try, because guidance is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and give us the best to understand this, that being dutiful to our parents is part and parcel of good character, is highly rewardable, and the opposite is also highly reprimandable in as far as Islam is what? Is concerned. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us understand these things and implement them the way He wants, such that He may bless us in as far as our lives are concerned and the life after.
Barakallahu fikum wa jazakumullah khair. Dear viewer, my parting point can be, say for example, is something I've just picked from a story that you just shared regarding the other old man that you went to check on in the hospital.
Yes.
That usually we toil so much in the guise of, making preparations for our children.
Yes.
So much so that we even forget ourselves, either to, you know, to live a better life and the like. But the ideal should be, we shouldn't be toiling so much to work for our children, but we should toil so much to prepare these children so that they can be able to be people of substance, in the future. So when the moral of that story, what I pick from that story is that probably he toiled so much to prepare for them, and now they were looking at this as an opportunity to,
because he never prepared them.
Didn't prepare them. So that was something that I picked from that story. And most of us as parents, we are doing this. We are toiling so much to prepare for the children, forgetting our cardinal, which should be preparing the children themselves so that they can be able to earn a decent life. With that, we come to the end of this program. Until next time when we meet, subhanakallah bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Sophia Kenyanji, National Chairperson.